So today is, I think, July 26, 2024, and today is a fairly pleasant day, which is a nice change. Here in Virginia this summer, it's been pretty, I think a lot of places it's been really hot, and we've been getting a lot of rain too. So we're having a dry day so far and a relatively cool day. But because it's a relatively cool day, that means that something has entered my mind. I got that first whiff of cool air, that first whiff of air that reminded me of the fall, that sweet, sweet fall air, that first whiff. And everyone who loves autumn and who loves Halloween knows that first whiff and knows the reaction to it. It's here. It's time. And everyone else thinks we're crazy. It's July. It's Halloween is months away. What are you talking about? Oh no, when you get that first whiff, that first hint, you get it. You get into the spirit. Um, and I tell you that the second time I walked outside and got that pleasant air in my face and my nostrils, I was like, oh yes, I am going to turn into a bat anytime now. Um, Especially since yesterday I was out shopping and I saw that they had candy corn out, and as I always do, I see that candy corn, I pick up a bag, I put it up to my face, and I take. Oh my gosh, I got that smell again, that air in my nose just now. It's like, and but yesterday with the candy corn, I got that in my nostrils, got that in my brain cells, and I was like, oh yes, I've forgotten what heaven smells like, because that is the smell of heaven. Um, and yeah, it makes me happy. Halloween makes me happy. It makes a lot of people happy. There are a lot of Halloween nuts around for whom Halloween is year round, but there are about 3 months where they just go crazy about it. August, September, October. Um, so last week of July, it's a little bit early, but still, you get that blast of air, of that hint of fall air, and you just fall into it. Um, Now, uh, Spirit Halloween, those stores, of course, we all wait for to those to appear. Those usually appear in August. And hold on, drink. Um, and the Spirit Halloween store around here, of course, they just open up in wherever random building happens to be available, right? And past couple of years, they've been in a building right next to the local Barnes and Noble. And I just found out that the local Barnes and Noble closed a month ago. I went to go there, and nothing there. The building is empty. So I'm wondering if there's going to be a Spirit Halloween in there next month, or if they're going to be in the adjacent building like usual. Um, I will be looking for it, and I will go in there and just wander around and with tears of joy in my eyes. Because really, it's many people will understand. It is like coming home. It is. You walk through there and you walk through those doors and you just stand there like, oh yes, I am home now. Um, and I'll have a tear or two of of sadness as well because I won't be able to buy everything in the store. Um, but it's pleasant to just walk around and look at things, and be in the atmosphere, and also be around just fellow Halloween lovers. Um, and of course, I've always loved Halloween. The rest of my family, not so much. um, Grew up in a somewhat conservative, and somewhat Catholic household, and um, yeah, I would carve jack o' lanterns, and my dad liked candy. He's always had a sweet tooth, and he's has even more of a sweet tooth now than ever, it seems. But every we lived on a main road in the country, so we never got trick or treaters, right? And and yet every year he would say, "You better make sure to get plenty of candy just in case we get some trick or treaters." And of course, we'd all roll our eyes and we'd be like, "Yeah, yeah, we know exactly who that candy is for." Um, but one year, I guess I was a teenager at this point. One Halloween evening, there was a knock at the door, and we were all shocked. Like, oh my gosh, we're actually getting a trick or treater this year. So I went and answered the door with a candy bowl in my hand, I guess, and it was Dad. He had sneaked out the back door without anyone noticing, went around the front and knocked on it. So I opened up the door, and he's there crouching, like, to make himself shorter, and going, trick or treat. Um, and that was delightful. That was one of the greatest moments um, of and one of the most playful, probably the most playful I've ever seen Dad, honestly. Um, but that was a one-time thing, and normally he didn't really get into Halloween other than eating the candy. Um, and I myself, even though I loved Halloween, I only went trick or treating once because I'm a naturally timid, non-social person. Um, and the one time I did go trick or treating was, I don't know if I was 6 or 7 years old. I barely remember it, but I was very excited to take part in this Halloween tradition until I realized, wait a minute, I'm actually gonna have to go to strangers' houses and knock on strangers' doors and come face to face with strangers. And I'm not even going to be showing them my actual face. I'm going to be wearing a mask. I think I was wearing a Bugs Bunny. We only had two masks, Bugs Bunny and the Tasmanian Devil. And I think I chose Bugs Bunny. I'm not sure though. Anyway, once I once I realized what trick or treating actually entailed, I had second thoughts, but I went ahead and did it. Um, but it was the only time I did it. I was like, okay, I got that out of my system, but I'm fine with just staying home and eating our own candy instead of going and knocking on strangers' doors. um, so, uh, so yeah, I've never been to being a non-social person, um, almost an anti-social person. I've never been to a Halloween party, um, or any type of Halloween social function per se. Um, Normally, I would just celebrate it by myself, um, eating candy and watching, yeah, eating candy corn, eating and bite-sized chocolates, bite-sized Hershey's and Crackle and Mr. Good bars and maybe a Snickers, and watching Is the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, followed by a Halloweeny movie. Um, and for years I had the tradition. I would watch It's a Great Pumpkin, then the original Halloween, 1978, and then another random horror film. Uh, and I haven't done the last few years. The last few years has been really, really screwed up. But that was a tradition for quite a while. Um, and other, you know, other than the original Halloween, other great movies to watch are, of course, like the horror classics of the '80s: A Nightmare on Elm Street, Hellraiser, Child's Play, um, um, Monster. The Monster Squad is a great one to watch. Did that one year. Um, of course, the Halloween anthology films, Trick or Treat, and Tales of Halloween. I love them both. Um, they've got a great Halloween look and feel to them, and they're just a lot of fun. And then there's Halloween Town, Halloween Town 2, um, um, The Witches, which actually I just saw The Witches for the first time recently, and I thought it was great. Um, and that was really, really good, well done film. The one with Angelica Houston in there. Speaking of which, the Addams Family is always a good go-to. Uh, uh, any of the Addams Families, the TV show, the '90s films. Uh, then there's the Silver Bullet, which I just saw for the first time a few months ago as well, and really liked it. Um, the classic Universal monster films, the original, the Bela Lugosi Dracula, um, the uh, the Boris Karloff Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein, which is one of the greatest sequels ever made. Um, uh, which reminds me of another great sequel, which is Bride of Reanimator, another film that's a lot of fun to, and as well as being, it's this great mixture of just loopy and crazy and funny, as well as really emotionally resonant at points, which surprising. I mean, about that. And then there's the 1977 BBC Dracula, which is really good and uh, probably the truest to the novel. Um, and the 1979 one with Frank Langella, which is not true to the novel, but which is a good vampire flick. Um, and then there's Interview with a Vampire and The Crow, great kind of goth film. Um, and not kind of, it's kind of like the goth film. Um, you know, great films to watch on Halloween or any time for that matter, if you like that sort of thing. Um, and of course, The Nightmare Before Christmas, duh. Even though, with with that, of course, it has Christmas in it as well as Halloween. It starts with the song "This Is Halloween." Um, it's mostly Halloween, but it's also Christmas, which you know, it, that may be a little bit of an impediment to some people who don't like Christmas. But um, Jack Skellington and Sally, and it's got some wonderful visuals and songs in there. Um, and it's a way to keep Halloween alive on Christmas as well. Um, uh, and of course, the songs for Halloween. I used to have a Halloween party CD. Unfortunately, that got like ruined somehow. Oh, anyway, and that had, you know, kind of cover versions of various tunes, like of course the Monster Mash is the main one. Um, it had they're coming to take me away, the Time Warp, Thriller. Um, uh, what else did it have? Uh, had Love Song for a Vampire, um, the original by Annie Lennox from Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula. Um, it had Spooky, you know. Love is kind of spooky with a no. Love is kind of crazy with a spooky little girl like you. Um, yeah. One song it did not have on there was "Every Day Is Halloween" by Ministry. Um, but anyway, there's some fun songs, some fun movies, and then of course there's Jack o' lanterns, um, which are a lot of fun to carve and a lot of fun to look at. Um, there's all kinds of other arts and crafts you can do if you're into arts and crafts. Um, in fact, it's a field day if it's if you're into arts and crafts. There's all kinds of stuff you can make. Um, of course, there are some people for whom Halloween is not only year round, but there are things that are Halloweeny that they use year round. Coffee mugs and towels and welcome mats and pillowcases and posters or whatever. They're year round. Um, and of course, you can watch a horror flick anytime. Uh, what else? What else? What else? uh, this is not planned out. I just want to, because it's in my mind, I want to talk about it, and it's fun to talk about. Uh, I don't want to stop. Where am I at? 17 minutes in. Um, I remember one Halloween, I was watching PBS, Channel 23, and they were actually playing Night of the Living Dead, and I was a teenager, I guess, at this point. I had never seen Night of the Living Dead, and um, plain. Um, so I was watching it, and it was like halfway through. Things were starting to really, um, hit the fan. But I was also thinking, okay, one, my parents are probably going to make me turn this off any moment now, and two, I'm actually finding it kind of boring, strangely enough. Um, so I just turned it off voluntarily. Um, Now, I mean, because zombies aren't really that interesting. Um, it's the non-zombie characters that really create. It's the zombies are uh, the um, the challenge. The emergency. The threat is the threat that people are facing, and then it's how the people react to that threat, and how they solve that threat if they do. That makes it interesting. And since then I've come to appreciate Night of the Living Dead more, um, and I love Dawn of the Dead, um, the original. Um, but yeah, that first time, um, I was first of all not that into it, and second of all, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be told to turn this thing off anyway. Um, and as far as you know, what is it about Halloween that makes that people love so much? I don't think it's really something that really should be analyzed. I'm 20 minutes. Okay, I should probably wrap this up. Um, you know, when you enjoy something or something, makes your heart light up, that's something you just appreciate um, and try to make the most of. And it's not a matter for really analyzation. Those who don't get it, they'll try to analyze it, but ultimately they just simply don't get it. If you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. Um, Now, personally, the explanation that people like to be scared safely has never made any sense to me because I don't like being scared at all. It's a very unpleasant sensation to be scared. Um, so, for Halloween, for me, celebrating Halloween, watching horror films, it's not about being scared. It's not about having those feelings. Um, it's something quite different. It's more a matter of releasing tension than building it. I think Wes Craven once said, I think that horror movies don't create fear; they release it, and that's closer to the truth, I think, than the idea of people want to be scared, because that's a very negative and destructive and tiring emotion, and we don't want that. We want to we want to have a good time. We want to enjoy ourselves, and we can do that. We can actually make fun and games out of the darkness and out of villains and death and magic and um, all those things. Um, as far as the background of Halloween, I mean the where it comes from in pre-Christian paganism, and then the effect that Christianity had on it. And I'm not going to get into that now, and it's not really necessary. Like I said, it's something you just appreciate and enjoy. Even though there is very much a spiritual aspect to it. Um, but anyway, I guess I'll wrap up the video now. It's gone on long enough. Uh, so, July 26th, talking about Halloween. Boys and girls of every age, wouldn't you like to see something strange? Alright. Thanks for listening.